We're also, though, John, going to talk a lot about the economy today. Now, just before the election, you, as a billionaire, has created a huge business, backed the Labour Party.
I would prefer the title philanthropist, although I am a businessman. But I spent all of my life on philanthropy at the moment.
OK. You have then, like everybody, been watching what's happening in the first few months of Labour in office, and we'll hear more from the Business Secretary in just a moment. But there are lots of stories and noises off in some of the news about wealthy people feeling nervous, some wealthy people even leaving the country, and particularly about the possibility of capital gains tax that's paid on share sales or selling property off, going up perhaps even to 39%. What would you make of that if that happened on that specific?
That specific, it's difficult to comment because it's not about specifics. It's about doing everything that's in balance right for Britain. We have to grow the economy. We have to attract inward businesses. Anything that we do that might be negative to attract inward businesses and inward wealthy people is a negative. I'm not too worried about losing the odd few people to Monaco or wherever who want to avoid paying any tax. They've already gone, most of them, but there are issues all around the policies that we have to be very careful of. I don't agree with the non-dom, changing the non-dom rules. I think that's unfair to a section of the non-doms. Not all the non-doms, but some of the non-doms that's unfair to. And we're going to lose people that can help make Britain prosperous. But we have to take a balanced viewpoint in order to put the great back in Britain. And if we get it wrong, it's at our peril. We cannot lose too many wealthy people, but more importantly, we have to attract inward investment. That's the big thing. OK, well, that's what the government's going to be trying to do this week. We've been talking about whether the government has really got the right ideas to get the economy going. John, let's come straight to you. What did you make of what Jonathan Reynolds had to say? I thought he was absolutely right in everything that he said. It's all about growing Britain's GDP. If we grow Britain's GDP, we grow revenue for the economy, and we're able to improve all the social services for all of those people that need it. And let's face it, the health service is in a mess, the social services are in a mess. You know, the education system in some areas is in a mess. We really need to dramatically improve the fabric of society for Britain, for the poorer people. We can only, though, do it through the raising of GDP per capita and therefore the tax dollars that come in as a result. We can't just think we can tax the rich, but I make it clear from my viewpoint that I don't think we couldn't raise income tax for the rich by 5 pence on the pound or whatever, because would that make a difference to most people? No, it wouldn't. And the people that want to avoid tax have already left because they don't want to pay the 45%.
So you're saying actually you could put income tax up by 5p and it wouldn't make a difference?
I don't think it made any difference at all. It's not about the income tax rate going up by 5p. It's about the whole package of measures that make Britain look environmentally friendly for businesses. And when the Labour minister says that the rogue operators like P&O, I don't know the ins and outs of that. But what I do know is it's politically stupid to condemn somebody when you want them to invest in Britain. What you should be doing is working behind the scenes to persuade them to improve their relationships, to do things that are more in line with humanitarian employment, rather than just blast them on the TV and cause a real headline that's damaging to the Labour Party and damaging to the business. We need to treasure these people, but persuade them internally to improve what they do as a humanitarian society.
The one thing that is in the government's control, though, was their decision early on, which surprised a lot of people, including in their own party, as well as many of our viewers, was the decision about winter fuel. Now, you, if you don't mind me saying, you would qualify for the winter fuel payment. I think, John, you might also as well. John, what did you make of that decision?
I think it's absolutely right. I think it's just ridiculous that the wealthier pensioners, and I don't just mean me with my wealth, I'm talking about lots of wealthier pensioners, have that sort of allowance. Why would we complex society with multiple allowances? They get pension credits. Make certain that when you abolish something, you look after the poorer members of the pensioner community and you do it through pensioner credits. Solve that problem and save maybe hundreds of millions on the people that don't need that allowance and simplify the system.
It's interesting, though, we don't even know how much this is actually going to save now, because if more people claim pension credit, then actually it might end up balancing out. Daisy, you were shaking your head then.
Yeah, look, I think it's the wrong decision. I think this has been done in a very clumsy way. It's wrong, and we still urge the Labour government to think again to protect the most vulnerable.
I don't agree with that at all, because the very point that you make, that if everybody claimed it would cost us more, well, if they're entitled to it, they should get it. And why shouldn't it cost us more? You know, if we've got pensioners out there that are not claiming it because they don't understand how to do it or whatever.
Because the pension credit form is so incredibly long and complicated.
Yeah, but that's not the point. You said it would cost us more. It doesn't matter if it costs us more. If that's fair and right and proper, it should cost us more, and we get the money from somewhere else. But I just make the point, why are all the wealthy pensioners, and I don't mean wealthy being rich pensioners, I mean those that can afford, why should they get a pensioner credit, credit or get a winter fuel allowance? It's nonsense.
I think we agree on the same principles. We both agree that the richest shouldn't get it, but we both agree the Labour government needs to think again to find a way of making sure the most vulnerable don't lose out.
We don't agree with that, because the simple point is that I don't know whether they've thought again. I don't know. You know, the big point of all of this is, are politicians good operators? Do they just talk a good story, or do they follow through with the operation that they need to do to put things right?
Are politicians good operators is something that we debate every single week.
The answer to that is going to become clear, isn't it? Will they deal with this winter fuel allowance abolition in a correct and fair and proper way? I hope they do.
John, once upon a time you did give money to the Conservative Party, and you're now a Labour backer. Have you seen or heard anything that would make you give to them again?
Unfortunately not. And we do need a strong Conservative Party in opposition. We do need that. We need strong political parties to have an option to vote for somebody who can competently run this country. At the moment, I'm perfectly happy with my decision to back Labour, but I do want the Conservatives reborn. But nothing I see of them at the moment suggests that that's going to be of any significance. They really got to get their act together in a big way. They've got to be big thinkers. There's two issues that affect every man, woman and child in this country. One is GDP growth, because that's the way you get the services, and the second one is climate change. And unless they put these world issues at the forefront of their policy, dabbling about with other things, I've been quoted many times that it's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.